What is up, lads? How's it going? How are you getting on? And welcome back to the channel. A fantastic Double Gameweek 22 has come to an end, and we have the use of the triple captainship to thank, but we'll get on to that later on in the video. If you're watching this video, please give it a like, drop a comment below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're currently on the road to 3k subs. In this video, we'll be looking at my Gameweek 22 team review, along with my Gameweek 23 transfer plans and team selection. Let's get into it. We start off the Gameweek review at Stamford Bridge, with Kepa and Mitrovic kicking off the game week. I was forced to play Mitrovic as I didn't want to take a hit, but unfortunately it didn't pay off as he was unable to score. Thankfully, with Fulham blanking, it meant Kepa was on for another double-digit haul to start off the week brightly. Kepa has been a joy to own over the last few game weeks, and it means he's now scored 29 points over the last 3 game weeks. With a fixture against West Ham this weekend, you'd expect him to keep another clean sheet. Mitrovic also has a favourable fixture against Nottingham Forest at home, so I'll be hoping he can get amongst the returns to repay the fate for keeping him. Moving on to the early kickoff on Saturday, I went into the game week with triple Arsenal with Double Gameweek 23 in mind. After the great start Friday evening, unfortunately everything kept my Arsenal trio out, and it meant they only came away with 5 points. It was slightly worrying to see Martinelli hauled off before 60 minutes, with Trossard breathing down his neck for a place in the starting 11. I'll now need to consider what to do with Gabby, as Arsenal also double in Gameweek 25, but we'll talk about my options later on in the video. After 8 weeks in a row of consistent returns, Kieran Trippier finally showed he was human, with West Ham wiping out the Newcastle clean sheet. I didn't mind the clean sheet wipeout, as Trippier is so high owned, and Newcastle clean sheet would have actually put me down in rank. Newcastle now face Bournemouth in Gameweek 23, so I wouldn't be surprised to see another Trippier haul this weekend. Moving on to Sunday, the City game was a fixture to forget, with De Bruyne not making the starting 11 and only making a cameo late on. It was a frustrating watch, as I decided to get rid of Kane instead of KDB, and with Kane scoring, it meant it was a 7-point swing. With De Bruyne getting the rest, I do expect him to start at 2 double game week fixtures, so I'm not too worried about his minutes. Haaland had an extremely quiet game against Spurs, but I'll be expecting to see him on the score sheet in the Villa fixture on Sunday. Now it's time for the United assets. I spoke a lot in my last video about the reasoning for triple captain and Rashford, and I'm absolutely buzzing that it paid off massively. I was expecting 2 returns over the 2 games, but for him to score twice and get an assist for a 60-point haul was the stuff of dreams. Bruno Fernandes scored from the spot, along with Shaw getting assists against Palace, so it meant I picked up 78 points for my United trio. All of these returns meant I reached the 100 club for Gameweek 22, and I'm now sitting at 167k overall. Hopefully we'll be in the top 100k over the next few weeks. Before we get into looking at City and Arsenal assets, the big news this week was the Double Gameweek 25 announcement for Arsenal, Liverpool, Everton and Wolves. Don't forget that United, Newcastle, Brentford and Brighton will be blanking in Gameweek 25. With Arsenal doubling in Gameweek 23 and Gameweek 25, and also the fact they won't blank in Gameweek 28, it shows how important their assets are. You also have to note that Everton also play in Gameweek 28 along with their double in Gameweek 25, so assets like Tarkowski will be popular amongst FPL managers. Liverpool doubling in Gameweek 25 also raises the question if Mo Salah should be coming back into our teams. I'm currently leaning towards the void option for now on the basis of Liverpool's current form. They do have players returning from injury, so if they do pick up form before Gameweek 25, Salah could make his way back into my team. With 2 double game weeks for Arsenal over the next few game weeks, it's very important to have the best players in your team from the table toppers. The best 3 I'd recommend for their doubles are Saka, Odegaard and Nketiah. If you own Martinelli and don't own Saka or Odegaard, I'd advise on transferring out Martinelli with Trossard fighting for his place in the team. The injury to Gabriel Jesus has affected Martinelli's FPL returns as Nketiah stays central, and it means Martinelli has to stay wide. If you own Ben White, I'd recommend holding him in your team, but I wouldn't be surprised if Tomiyasu started some fixtures over the next few weeks. Looking at City options for Double Gameweek 23, Haaland is the obvious player, along with KDB and Mahrez, making up my advised trio. If you're unable to afford one of Mahrez or KDB, I would lean towards Ake for defensive City cover. But be warned, Pep has hinted that Ake could face rotation over the next few. With the chance of Pep roulette for Ake, I'd prefer to hedge my bets with the City attacking trio. Mahrez should be fairly safe to play, with Foden missing out with an illness, and I'd expect De Bruyne to play the 2 games after missing out in the loss to Spurs. Looking ahead to Gameweek 23, let's have a look at what players I'm planning on bringing in this week. With the uncertainty of Martinelli's minutes, I think it might be sensible to move for Saka, as he's probably the most nailed on Arsenal attacker. He also has the added bonus of being on penalties, and with Nketiah and White already in my team, penalty duties is the reason I'm leaning towards Saka over Odegaard. He's also a standout captaincy shout in Gameweek 25 when Arsenal double again. With Cancelo gone to Bayern last week, having the chance to finally get rid of him means I'm able to fund the Saka move. I know Pep has hinted at a rest for Ake, but I'm expecting him to start the 2 games over the double, so this is the reason I'm leaning towards bringing him in. If I press the button on these 2 moves, it will mean I'll be taking a -4 hit, so I'll be waiting until the press conferences before deciding on my transfers. Looking ahead to Double Gameweek 23, here's a few tips you should take note of before the deadline. Martinelli to Saka or Odegaard, even for a hit, will be worth it in the long run. I'd advise on targeting Arsenal and Everton players, as both have a double game week in 25 and play in the blank game week 28. Haaland, Mahrez and De Bruyne are my preferred Man City trio. Ake should be the most nailed if you're looking for City defensive cover, and if you still have your triple captainship to play, Haaland is definitely the shout this week. If I do go with my potential transfers, here's how I'll be lining up below. Kepa in goals, White, Trippier and Ake in defence, Saka, De Bruyne, Rashford and Bruno in midfield, and Mitrovic, Haaland and Nketiah up front. It also means I'll have 6 double game week players, so I'd be fairly happy with this lineup, albeit I got there with taking a hit. Looking at captaincy for double game week 23, Haaland is a standout option for this week. He had an extremely quiet game against Spurs, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him haul against Villa on Sunday. I'm expecting the Arsenal game to be a tight affair, so I'd be quite content with 2 returns from Haaland over the 2 games. If you still have your triple captainship to play, this is the week you should consider to play it. I'm currently not locked into my moves, so don't forget to follow me at FPL Era on Twitter and Instagram, where I'll post my locked in team before the deadline. If you've made it to the end of this video, please give it a like, drop a comment below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. There you have it, there's my Game Week 23 team. Best of luck for Game Week 23, I'll see you in the next video.